about that. Like one of my biggest, like it's a self secret to all of us, but one of my biggest accomplishments would be
hooking up with the teacher. Yeah,
like it's just one of those things. Like we have to look at it in different views. To a woman, it's not right, and they don't feel good about it. But I've never, maybe there is a few, but I've never heard of a dude saying I slept with a teacher and he's haunted by it.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Weekly Order. This is our second episode. We got Tumi Tladi with us today. He's a hip-hop artist. We're very honored to have you today. I won't lie, we're very happy to have you.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah,
thanks for coming through.
So I think because the Springboks are playing rugby today, we're going to actually just down a beer to give them some support.
Okay, for the boys.
Everyone grab your beer, let's have it down. And let's see how it goes, man.
Let's do it for the box.
It's fine, that'll be good, yeah.
Okay.
Gentlemen,
boys, cheers. 3, 2, 1, salute.
Damn it.
I couldn't have bro. We'll just sip on some
good beer then.
Fraser's the only one. Fraser's the only one.
I haven't done it in so long, man.
That's fine.
There's a sip this, bro.
Professionals, bro.
That was highly embarrassing by everyone.
I know.
Not a good attempt.
Okay, but it's fun.
At least on guess.
Yeah.
It was just as bad.
Yeah, it was bad also, yeah.
No, it's fun. Let's give a little cheers there.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so today we got Tumi with us, like we said. Very excited to have him on the show. Tumi, you can just give us a little background story on who you are, what you do. I think everyone would love to obviously find out if they don't know who you are, what you're all about.
Yeah, guys, my name is Tumi Tladi. And usually people kind of look at me as a multi-talented artist because I always experiment with my sounds, and I also come from a background of dancing. So, the two pretty much come together. I have background in also acting, presenting, videography, cinematography. I pretty much
bit of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, pretty much I wanted to do everything. Yeah, even a photographer. I'm also a photographer. So, I just was that type of person. I wanted to do everything. But my main focus is definitely music. I'm a musician first and foremost. Been on this journey for like about 6 years. Started
your music journey?
Yeah, my music journey. And then with my dancing journey, I started when I was 15. So I'm 27 now. So I started when I was 15 and then got into the music 6 years ago. And yeah, just enjoying the journey, man. And the dancing really prepared me well to understand this music thing.
Yeah,
and
so good,
and
man.
yeah,
I mean,
so
I was trying to list how many things I could do now, and I think I ran out after 3. But
like everything I learned, via presenting, via acting, via editing, just kind of helped me mold my brand into what I wanted to be, and it's still molding it to this day to be a premium brand. That's like my goal.
That's really dope, man. And when I checked your Instagram, I saw you had the blue tick, man.
Instagram, to a point that
blue tick.
Yeah, like Instagram, like shout out to Instagram. I don't know if Twitter was gonna do it because Twitter stopped verifying people in general.
Oh, really?
But hopefully they also see what Instagram sees in me, and I think with Instagram they saw what I'm trying to do with my brand. They saw that.
So what was the process?
How it works is that you request to be verified. And they evaluate,
and then they'll choose whether.
So I made sure I try to cover all traits of being a verified artist, because you don't necessarily have to be famous, but people need to demand your brand. So people consistently search my name, which is a good thing. I'm always on publications like your guys' show.
That's amazing. There we go. Shout out Weekly Order.
Yeah, so that's one of people don't believe it, but that's one of the main reasons you actually get verified. The more interviews you get, the more chances, because Instagram decides you are a public figure by your interviews. Because that only makes sense if you think about it. If you simplify it, like why? Well, what other way can they do it really? But if your music's obviously big enough, also there was a time when I released a song that got to like 60,000 views in a
Was
short
that You
time.
Ain't Shit on?
It's called Reel It In.
Okay.
60,000
I saw You Ain't
streams.
Shit is really one. You Ain't Shit was really
Yeah. I think
Very
that
cool.
song "You Ain't Shit" was definitely a good foundation for also Instagram to see where I'm coming from as well,
That was a
and
dope
to what
song,
I have
though,
now.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And yeah, from there they even rejected me. I tried to get verified last year. I applied, and then they rejected and said I wasn't suitable. And then I just gave up. I was like, then I'm just gonna carry on. I don't really need it anyway. You know? And then this year, all of a sudden, when I don't care about it, then they verify
It's
me. I was
funny how
like,
it works out like that.
yeah, it's actually funny. It's weird how the music industry or anything you do in life works out. It's like the minute you don't chase something, then it comes to you, but you really want it. So like, what do? I'm still going through that now. It's like, I want shows, I want this, I want that.
Yeah.
But am I supposed to now be like, okay, let me focus on something else, and then all of a sudden it comes, even with the dancing, like I was doing really well. I left dancing at my high at my peak.
Yeah,
I was
and
doing
you're
really
good at
well. I didn't
dancing.
leave when I was struggling, you know what I mean?
Amazing.
But like, it's crazy that when I decided to leave, then even
Was that
more
because of
shows
music?
came. Yeah, I left
Yeah.
because of music, because you can't really do both. It's actually impossible,
Yeah,
especially,
sure.
no, you can dance. You can be known as a musician that dances, but if you're actually a choreographer, it takes too much of your time.
Yes,
And when I became an artist, all of a sudden, I'm getting like crazy bookings for dance. So it's like,
Oh, it was like,
Yeah.
like the wrong time. Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? So within the music world, is that type of thing is like, I always say, don't quit the music, because all of a sudden now they might
That's
just
true.
call
They
you
might,
up. So
they
just
might want
stay
you in.
pushing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So, speaking about the music industry, I just want to find out the state of the music industry in South Africa. Like, where is it at the moment? Is it in a good place, bad space? Do you think it's
feel like
still
as a-
progressing or?
I feel like we're a third world country, so it's always going to be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Like
we don't
always going to be behind a little bit.
Yeah, and we're a small country, so there's not enough people to really have a full flourishing industry of music. We always, every artist of every genre is always like just making by, and hence why we're trying to also reach
And
the
that makes me
international.
so sad.
It's
Because, we
very
have such
sad.
good artists in South Africa.
Yeah,
And that kind
Big
of stuff
talent,
needs
yeah.
to be promoted, and people need to be like actually compensated for what they do
That's
financially.
sort of one
You
of the
see.
purposes of this podcast, I guess, which we are trying
to do
achieve.
Exactly.
to boost
100%.
people
because
and
you never know,
boost their arts
because
and
it can
everything,
also
yeah.
expose them to international places. You know what I'm saying? That's why
That's
I'm
what I'm
here,
saying, yeah.
because
That's the
at the end of the day,
question,
you're not
yeah.
limited to South Africa with this podcast.
Exactly.
You know?
Thank you,
That's
we
a question
appreciate
I was
that,
gonna
yeah.
ask, is your end goal overseas then?
Definitely. Obviously, when it started home, like I used to dance for Will Smith for just a short
That's
period.
amazing.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
That's
it's-
awesome.
Thanks,
What do
gents.
you
Like,
Shout out.
it's just a
To
short
the
period. Yeah, just for that short period, he was like, "Why are you here in LA?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm trying to make it as a dancer," He kind of also gave me the spark of the idea of being a musician, because in their world, if you're a dancer, you should also be able to be a musician.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
and
does
they
make
will.
sense.
Yeah,
It's
so they
like a
kids.
good-
Yeah, so Willow, Jaden, they all know how to dance. They have to.
Yeah.
And dance as a
It's also
formal
bizarre
training.
family that
Yeah. They
They
full on
change.
everything. They just try to do everything. You know what I mean? So with him, he said, "Yo, why are you here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm trying to make it." And he's like, "No, dude, like, because he has a house in Cape Town." So he's like,
Oh, really? I
I'm in
didn't
South
know that.
Africa." Yeah. So he's like, "I'm in South Africa there and there. Like, I see you guys TV. I watch your SABCs. He knows about
Okay, that's
SABCs and stuff.
interesting.
And he's like, "No, there's a lot missing. Why
Yeah.
can't you fill it up instead of running here where everyone's done everything? You're not gonna be remembered for."
And that's what, again, coming
for
back to
decades.
this podcast itself, that's what I was thinking, create something rather than just complain about maybe there's something missing in the media
Exactly,
space,
yeah.
like where artists can't come and speak like this or something like that. Let's create it. Let's
Let's
set
create
it
it.
up.
Take that first
Let's
step.
build it. Let's put a studio wherever you can. Let's just
Exactly, and
speak
you guys
about
are doing
you know?
it the right way. I'm like really impressed so far.
Thank
This
you,
is like
man.
the
Yeah.
best.
We appreciate
So
it,
far,
man.
especially with the setup, is the best
got us all
podcast I've
smiling.
seen.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that's a huge compliment.
No,
yeah.
absolutely.
Even
Yeah.
off mic, I was already saying that. I was like,
yeah,
"Yo,
we
it's
really do
crazy."
appreciate
And
it.
we, we don't do this for a living. We're all in
Professional,
jobs,
yeah.
so-
But
Yeah.
we obviously we have ambitions and goals
Yeah. Of
ourselves.
course.
And we have our own things that we're like working on.
No, definitely.
But the other thing I wanted to touch on is artists like Casper and Questa and those who are really doing well in South
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah.
What do you think sets them apart to the people that might be, let's say,
So-
struggling? Or what
Yeah.
do you think? Do you think they
Good question.
maybe getting a bigger audience? Do you think? What
Yeah,
do you think it is?
this
What,
is-
what are they
it's-
doing right that other artists might not?
Yeah,
financing
this is
behind
one
it.
of the
Yeah.
reasons I came to these interviews is to like spread knowledge, to
Yeah.
people that
The floor is
don't
yours,
want to
yeah.
know, and people could be angry with me for even saying what I say, But people do need to know the truth, and if I had to be that person, it's all good, you know. We stuck in this world where, and I was also stuck in it. It's part of a journey I'm on. So what I'm saying is the advice I'm giving people is the advice I'm also sitting on as we speak. What sets them apart from the people that are coming up is that firstly, they're not trying to be American.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Their music is not American. You know, some people are upset that Casper left hip hop a little bit and went to like Kwaito and, you know, I'm a piano and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, that's proudly South African. I think the biggest mistake we all make in different races or different genres is that we try to sound American. Whether we're doing pop, whether we're doing rock and roll, pop, jazz, whatever. What makes us struggle to be attractive internationally is that we don't have our own South African sound.
I agree with that, but I feel like
and we actually do. So I worded it wrong. We have our South African sound, but we don't project it to the internationals enough.
What's the problem in there?
So what sets them aside is what I've learned now. One of the reasons why I struggle to get to a certain level before being verified or before being played more on radio and stuff is that my music was sounding American, and you get the Nasty C's, you get the Arises and all of them. Like, they're doing well, cool. Yeah. But you know, people are still looking at why aren't like hip hop artists like the number one genre, or why is it not the biggest of the biggest, you know? Yeah. And it's because at the end of the day, South Africa as a whole has no relatability. You know,
it's a very good point.
You know, so guys even ask like, "Yo, why are you guys not rapping in a more South African posh English? Like, you know, call it Model C. Like, rather be like, yo, bro, yo, butts, you know, in the raps. You get what I'm saying? Like, rather speak that, because that's where we come from. You know what I'm saying? Or speaking Vernac, speaking Zulu, speaking Sotho, speaking Afrikaans. You know,
I've seen that does well because Questa actually he gets a lot of views, and I actually heard at one of Casper's full-up, I think it was FNB Stadium. And I think it was FNB Stadium. Yeah. He had Questa as a guest. And I heard from people that were at the show itself that Questa almost like stole the show. Like, because Questa's becoming so popular.
He's blowing up.
He's blowing up so much, dude. Questa,
that's why even his features with Americans are better, because the Americans are like, oh, you doing something I can't do.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on creating a South African sound, and it's called Afro Pop right now. Okay. With the hip hop, I'm working on it. But right now, like, what's really jolted my career up more is that I'm doing a genre called Afro Pop. So the Afro Pop is more singing, you know, than rap.
That burning song.
Burning Out. That's my newest single. That's Afro Pop. So that's my newest single, really, and it's actually my biggest song I've ever released since You and Shit, you know. Yeah. So, and that's because it caters, and even though it's not in vernac, like my next songs will definitely be in more vernac, like more South African languages. But even with that one as a start off, because of the sound, it's very South African. You can never say that song sounds American. You know, it gives us more identity. Therefore, radio plays me more, because they're like, this is how we can, if we have an American come to South Africa and they're like, yo, show me South African music. Then it'll be like, okay, we'll give you something up tempo. Here's Tumi Tladi, Burning Out. This is our South African sound. You know, so that's what we struggle with in terms of being big overseas, where Black Coffee will do well, because he's doing really well. It's from Africa. Do you know what I'm saying? It's from Africa. I'm trying to think who else is doing well. But it's very difficult for us as artists to do well internationally if we don't have our own thing. That's why
I see Nasty C try to travel a bit.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, the thing with him is that he's one of the best, or actually the best rapper in South African history. In South African history, there's no other person that can touch Nasty C. The thing is, he's trying to cater for the world. And you know, sometimes the Americans are up and down about him. They like him, don't get me wrong. They'll interview him and everything, because his frequency is definitely on this American sound. But sometimes they'll be like, you know, if I show an American, I'll be like, yo, this is Nasty C's from that. They'll be like, yeah, but where's your guys' South African stuff? Like I want to hear your guys' sound. I'm tired.
That Black Coffee has done brilliantly.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I've seen, watched videos of him playing in
Ibiza
I have support in like 2 Miami clubs that play my music.
That's amazing.
Because of the South African sound. So before, I used to send them my hip hop stuff and they would never play it. And ever since I started showing the Burning Out single, they playing that in the Miami clubs.
That's amazing.
So
the conclusion of that is just stop trying to be the same as everyone
else.
Be proudly South African. If you want to do rap, just do rap in your South African tongue. Don't try to sound American with the R's and there and that.
Do you think for a rapper up and coming, if you have advice for someone now, and he's busy debating, should I rap in vernac or should I go in English? Or a mix of the two. What do you think is the best combination?
Listen, man, I got a homie called Costa Titch, a white boy from Nelspruit.
Okay.
He was struggling with doing hip hop, and then he made a Vernac hip hop song.
Wow,
and it's apparently going to be the biggest hip hop song in SA this year.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? You guys must even interview him. No, he's been in Joburg for 6 years. We started together. We started music together. Like,
That's
actually,
amazing.
if you wanted to know who did you start music with, it's actually him.
Amazing,
and,
man.
you know, both of us realized these things about the South African identity, and now our careers are changing because we adapted to be more South African. Where me and him, he's trap. He even got co-signed by Americans for his trap song. It got like I don't know if you could know a guy called King Vader, comedian in America. He co-signed him, and Costa got just millions of views all over the world.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? But what the struggle was is that it wasn't, there was no identity, so people couldn't really support him. You know what I'm saying? Now he's done a song that's full vernac. He's like, yo, I'm gonna speak Zulu in the song. He doesn't even speak Zulu, but he did it, and it's blowing up. He's got a co-sign from Ricky
Zulu
Rick.
for the song, or did he know Zulu before the song?
No, he doesn't know Zulu. Like he writes it with my other friends and stuff like that, and they write it for him. And with that, bro, like, it's blowing up. The song has got a co-sign by Ricky Rick.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? So it's just gonna blow up more. You guys will know the song. Trust me. Like, if you look in the hip hop space, that's gonna be probably the biggest hip hop song. So my best advice to hip hop artists coming up is he's a perfect example of someone that was struggling. As soon as he switched up to South African, he used an American beat but made it sound South African with these words. Now South Africa is receiving it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely advice to rappers: if you want an American beat, at least speak vernac. But there's still hip hop sounds that are very South African that you can sample from hit songs that are maybe jazz or whatever. Implement Kwaito even into your hip hop. Then it will give it identity, because technically Kwaito is actually our hip hop. Or we adjust with Kwaito to be more attractive overseas or to South Africa.
I mean, I think that can relate to anything you do on the online space, right? Because I mean, this podcast itself, we were like, we're not going to try to speak about American topics. We're not going to try to speak about we're not going to just try to bring on American guests that come here once every 10 years. We want to keep it South African, because we're trying to boost South Africa's culture.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think with everything you almost do in the online space, try keep it homegrown first. Once people recognize you as the South African artist, and for who you do in South Africa and what you do in South Africa, it will spread over the world.
I have to put a perfect example, because I have some friends that are colored or maybe white. They'll be like, oh, Tumi, but I struggle. South Africa, maybe it's because of my skin color that they don't want me to be a big artist in South Africa. Because at the end of the day, they look at it as the hip hop world or the house world is ruled by black people in terms of the music industry. And I'm like, no, it's not because of your skin color. It's because of your frequency and your sound. Look at a Costa Titch, who's now going to have the biggest song in South Africa. And look at a Holly Ray. She's from Durban. Beautiful white girl. And she's doing the South African
she's
sound.
Killing it, eh? She's
and black
really
people are playing this shit. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not about, oh no, I can't make because of my skin color. I don't like that excuse. I'm just like, yo, be more South African.
I think it's a big stigma that people need to get past as well. Stop blaming racial tension for your own fault.
And even if I want to go into selling Afrikaans music, if I want to sell Afrikaans music as a black person, I just have to do it the right frequency.
Exactly.
I have to speak the language properly.
And there's actually that guy from Vereniging. He was busking in Afrikaans. I don't know if you saw him. I can't remember his name, but he actually started busking in Vereniging, right? And he sings in Afrikaans and everything, and he actually became really big. He's selling records now. He's doing really well. Performing shows, so
we had a place where it's not about our skin anymore. It's just about the culture.
I agree with that 100%.
As me as a listener, I mean, I love my music, and I mean, but sure, it should be the same with everyone. You don't give a fuck about that stuff.
Exactly.
I like unique sounds and
something that's different.
I mean, at the moment,
and Frey, you're really picky with your music. You are really picky.
Because at the moment, I mean, you go into a genre such as rap or house or whatever, and it is very monotonous. It's the same shit. I'm going for the ones that are different.
That's another thing with South Africa, and I think that comes to me saying it's a third world type of vibe, because there's not enough people, right? Actually, scratch the third world. There's actually just not enough people to have like a wide audience that listens to all kinds of
music, just so that everyone can make it.
Yeah, because I know that there are listeners like him where you can listen to just something totally different. And you want to experiment with your ears. You want to experiment with your soul. but it's like there's not enough South Africans that are so open-minded,
We're
or there's not enough internet
That's
or
what I was
access
just about
to
to
it,
say.
yeah.
It's
Access
basic.
to find those music. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I can make.
I think it could be a bit of both, because like in America, you have enough, let's say, country listeners that will make country artists big, even though it's not the biggest genre in America, right?
Yeah.
But in South Africa, if you have a niche genre, we don't have enough niche
No, not
listeners.
at all.
very
You
sound.
understand? And that's coupled with not having access either.
Did you know that hip hop is counted as a niche genre? And
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't even know that,
it's actually a small genre,
Wow.
and we've always, because in hip hop we're so loud, we've always made it feel like it's a mainstream genre, and it's left the mainstream because the community, the niche community, did not support each other enough. We started having this cool kid mentality. We started saying, "Oh, I'll only feature if you have a certain amount of followers." You know what I'm saying? Whereas in the Afro pop world, for me, it's easy for me to get a feature with another big artist because they listen to, they're about the music. You know what I'm saying?
That's nice,
so with hip hop, we realized that, oh snap, hip hop is actually a niche. Because when I came into music, I looked at hip hop as one of the top genres in the country in terms of it's a mainstream, it's a mass genre.
Yeah, you thought it was the biggest.
You know what I mean?
Best,
Then when obviously the politics and everything was happening within the industry, I realized that, oh snap, it's actually not as big as we think, because now they cut off hip hop from radio basically. They only play old hip hop classics of South Africans that released hip hop in 2016. Do you know what I'm saying? And the
normal pop that's being played.
And what I'm just seeing from the radio stations I listen to, the dominating genres is like how, in terms of long term, if you're looking at 10 years, the dominating genres is house and Afro pop, right? And Afro house. But even Amapiano being the biggest genre in the country right now, that's still a niche. You know, that's still a niche.
Yeah.
As much as it's number one right now, if you make a dope Amapiano song that can change your life, we have the tension to make a mistake and think that's the main genre of the country. No, it's a niche genre.
But I think that's another thing about music. It's always evolving and it's always keeping up and like changing. You know, think about the 1970s. I'm going way back. How, you know, we didn't have the electronics we have now and the all the
technology available
and stuff that we have. But now we do, and now the sounds have changed with that, you know. So people actually are DJing now, and like you have all these extra sounds.
You also have to
in.
think about access, man. You know, think about 66 million people in SA. Who has access to the internet? Who lives where? Who does what? You know, and like when you look at the space, you know what I mean. There's more like hoods and villages and rural areas that people only also have access to radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think to just add on to that. Yeah. I think putting stuff on YouTube rather than putting it on Mnet, we actually have to pay for that kind of stuff. You know, helps actually the country as a whole.
It's quite a new thing.
It's easy. It is quite new, and it is. But it's easy to access it on YouTube. You know, all you need is a phone and internet. You know,
and the thing is, like at the end of the day, you guys are building up to something that you know is gonna be huge, because eventually, I hope. The government or whoever they partner with will give access to the people that can't get the internet, because you must remember 13% of the country has access to the internet. Only 13%. So where the others?
That's a whole nother story.
So
what I'm saying.
Essentially, what's happening is that the guys that are the only chance they can to listen to music is through the radio.
Now, but
the radio is something I wanted to discuss as well. I mean, from a layperson's point of view, we hear the same repetitive stuff on the radio for the most part. Getting onto radio, how does that work? I mean, you're obviously on radio. So
So obviously, but I can tell you in the long run, especially with the podcasts and, you know, with music videos, actually just the internet in general, we building up to a world that's gonna have access to internet. So this is what everyone's doing on the internet is a big investment for the future within 10 years. You know what I agree
with that.
Right now, the dominating platform is radio. Like the internet doesn't even.
And the thing is, radio is controlled.
So radio is controlled. You know, how it works is that you need a sampler.
Okay.
Right? You need a guy that knows the people from the radio station, the compiler. He understands them. He knows how they think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even for me, I have a sampler that's known these radio stations for like 20 years.
And
my sampler is not even young.
Even
sometimes you'll find that your sampler is not even young. You know what I mean? They have to be experienced just because of over the years of knowing how all the stations work. Secondly, how compilers work and how we knew that, my song is going to get on radio after my switch up is that it's a frequency thing. So
they have a list of songs that they'll choose and they'll keep playing
they even
over
listen.
the day.
It's literally frequency. So there's a thing called hit song chords.
Okay.
So hit song chords are based on your arrangement of how you play a ballad in the piano. Right?
Okay. Yo,
They
that's cool,
always
yeah.
look for that. So when your song has a hit song chord, that gives you the upper advantage even more
To be
than
played on the radio. That's
to be played on the radio. Yeah.
that's
So
interesting.
that they don't even listen to the actual concept of your song. They just listen for a
They
hit
don't
song
even want
chord.
the message or
You know what
nothing
I'm saying?
like
So
that.
hit song chord can go just an example. Dum 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 dum.
And then they look for that, not even the message of the song. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't even listen to the actual
This is
song.
the
They
purpose of
don't even
it.
listen
Yeah,
to the
that's
mixing and
message.
mastering. Your song could be mixed and mastered crap. But if your chords of your piano is on point and it's a hit
So
song
basically,
chord.
if it's catchy.
Yeah,
if it's
so
catchy.
not even catchy. It goes even deeper than that. Like hit song chords come from why we call them hit song chords is that let's think of a song. You know, do you know the song? The one I actually remade the song.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah,
burn
sounds
out.
familiar to me.
Oh, if I use
That's
those
pretty dope.
chords,
What, we
which I
start
did,
singing and dancing.
you know what I'm saying? That's an old song, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
1980s, right? If
Yeah.
I use that song, those chords, it became a hit song in the 80s. So those are
Okay.
automatically hit song chords. So the minute I use those chords in my recent song, you automatically going to feel like you've known the song all the
Yeah.
The
time.
purpose for
Okay.
using those chords is that to attract listeners. Because
That's to attract
are
listeners?
Like,
Yeah.
Yes, because another
Yeah.
thing is radio stations do struggle with having sponsors. So you must
Okay.
understand that it's not personal. A
Yeah.
lot of artists like to think it's personal.
Hmm.
No one gives a crap about you.
Yeah.
No one has anything against you. No one even has the time to worry about what you have going. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest advice I can give artists, and I used to have a problem like that. I used to be like, no, they're jealous of me. No, they trying to block me. They can
Yeah.
see. No, they don't. They actually, you don't exist to them. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What
Yeah.
they trying to do is
Which
get
is
the
probably
bag.
a
That's
humbling
what-
It's always power and
Yeah.
profit.
You know what I'm saying?
Companies and
you know what I'm
countries
saying?
always
So
want
it's
power
about
and profit,
it's
yeah.
about them saving their business,
Yeah.
right? So they put your song. Your song sounds good, but they can't take the risk. If you're not using hit song chords or you're not using a South African sound, they cannot take the risk because if they lose just a bit of listenership, even 5%,
They're losing sponsorship.
so you can
Yeah.
also see
Yeah.
that at the end of the day, it's also the listeners that are the reason why we find dope artists. We like, why isn't this dope artist on radio? It's
Yeah.
actually the listeners' fault because I have
100%.
files that I can see stats of how people listen to my music, what time they listen to my music
Oh,
on
that's
radio,
crazy.
how many people listen to my music.
Yeah.
So
That
right
is
now,
interesting,
74 million people have listened to my song on radio.
That's amazing.
That's
Wow.
the
Round
the
of
data
applause
I
for
have.
that.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Let's give a round
Yeah,
of
and what's
applause.
dope about that is that you know that wherever you perform, because there's only like 66 or 60 million people in SA. So that's 74 million impact, right?
Yeah.
So that's at least some people listening more than once.
Yeah.
When you go perform, that's why radio is so important. When you go perform, they might not know you. They'll be like, but I heard that song
But I heard
somewhere.
that
Yeah.
song, yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
amazing,
So
yeah.
that's the importance of radio. You need to make sure you catering for the station. You trying to protect their business, right? And you also trying to make sure a young dumb listener that doesn't maybe is not cultural to what you like as an
Yeah.
as an artist or as another listener, like a person like you who listens to niche music
Yeah.
can, you know, sometimes they're just not. There's some fans that are actually not open-minded. Like,
Yeah.
they just want the simple thing. And I'm like, so if I just sing like this and dumb it down, oh, I love you, you are my girl. Like to us, we like as niche listeners, we want depth.
Yeah.
We want it's
specific
funny
sound,
how
yeah.
people leave you alone when you struggling and when you make it, you big. We want
Yeah, you
depth,
want that-
right?
that
But
words.
those listeners who are probably the majority just want I love you and you love
yeah.
me.
Cliché
We gonna
message,
love
yeah.
each other.
But it's
And then
weird.
all of a sudden you
Everyone
become a
bitches
star.
about what's on the radio, but they're the problem.
And you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
And you
crazy.
find that and the worst part is the people that bitch about radio are on the internet. So
Bitching
and
about
that's
the radio.
30% of the country.
Yeah.
So the rest of the country is not actually bitching.
They're
We
not,
just
yeah, they're
think
not
they are.
even weighing in on
Do you know
it.
what I'm saying?
They
It
don't
even
have
came
the
to a
ability
point that,
yeah.
and yes, as the internet, we still do have a movement. We have a way of impacting even the news. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When girls are being kidnapped and everything, and you
Yeah.
know, we as the internet, that is 13% of the country, we can still make a certain amount of noise, right?
Yeah.
But, and get it across to the station. So when girls were being kidnapped, only 13% of the country is actually
Actually
complaining,
weighing on it, sure.
right? But because of those 13% that have the internet, just a bit of exposure, it gets to TV, and then TV says to the masses is like, oh, this is happening.
And then
Do you know what I'm
everyone
saying?
finds
And,
out.
and it's
Yeah.
still not covering the full masses of the country. So when people are like, yo, there's fire going down, there's craziness going down, it's not actually as big as we think, just because the rest of the country doesn't have enough exposure to know what's really going on. They can be walking down the street, a girl even walking down the street like, oh shit, I didn't know it's that dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we also have to bear in mind that with the radio, it reaches people that the rest of the people that are not the 13% that have access to the internet.
And I think
we have to dumb it down for them sometimes.
I think that could be a good way to lead into maybe one of our next topics, So maybe let's just take a quick break and we'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah.
So guys, if you hear any break in the audio, it's just that the camera that we use only records up to like 30 minutes. So if you find that break in the audio or the video, it's just that we have to take a break and then
we're on part 2.
We're on part 2 now. We're back up and
We're
running.
going in.
So I want to expand on artists getting paid in South Africa with regards to like royalties and radio stations. So I don't know if you guys can touch on that a bit.
So there's been a bit of controversy lately with regards to South African artists being paid their royalties. David Scott from the Kiffness, I'm sure you guys all
I've heard of him.
He's
quite big on the online space as well.
Yeah,
very much. Yeah, he's actually quite funny.
He is. Yeah, he puts out some good stuff. Yeah.
And he found out recently that he was owed 60,000 rand from, I think it was SAMRO, one of the rights organizations. And it turns out for Needle Time royalties, which is basically for radios playing your songs publicly, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
And turns out SAMRO doesn't have the money. It's the
crazy.
SABC that
has not paid those type of groups.
So after he did a bit of further investigation, and it turns out amongst the various groups, there's SAMRO, SAMPRA, Airco, RISA, Capasso.
They haven't been paid at all.
SABC owes 250 million rand, sorry.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Organizations.
It's crazy.
And that money is directly to be paid to musicians.
Yeah.
And
artists, people making the art, actually.
Yeah.
So radio stations are actually exploiting artists a bit in a sense.
They are playing artist music for free, in the sense that I guess the up and coming artists are getting exposure, but nothing in return.
Yeah.
And that's the controversy of it as well, is that they've just received that big bailout money.
Yeah.
So it's 2.1 billion rand that the SABC got a bailout because, I mean, it's the SABC. So just for this bailout, they could use that.
But where's that money? Where's that money gone? And what's it being put towards?
There'll be another bailout maybe next year sometime. So just
this
money that side.
It's bad.
But yeah, so that's the case. And what we discussed behind camera as well, when we took a brief break, is that there needs to be more responsibility from the big guys. Casper and Joves, Questa, aka
Need
for
to come to the
them,
party.
maybe they don't need the royalties as much as up and coming artists do. I mean, up and coming artists flip and rely on that stuff.
Yeah, it's their bread and
butter. That's
butter.
what builds our foundation.
Exactly. So they have a social responsibility to ensure that this is being done, unfortunately, and it doesn't seem like it's happening.
Yeah.
So that's just something that needs to get out there.
Yeah. So Tumi, what have you been doing with your royalties and getting paid with by the SABC, your views on the radio and listens?
Yeah. So obviously after I found out what happened, we knew that, right now we can't really chase the money from from our side, because like you said, with the big artists, with them, they don't see that they're not happy with radio in general. I think they definitely also chase their money, and maybe they'll be delayed, because it's been going on for about 7 years, where it's come to a point that when you speak to an artist, you say, okay, how are you going to get money as an artist? It always comes down to, you need to do your own shows.
Okay.
So your main source of income
is shows. Yeah.
And I see you have a show coming up now.
Yeah. So there's a new era. Well, it started. I think, let's say it started through Casper. I'll say that.
With the whole fill up the dome, and then
it started being more commercial. It's always happened. You know,
Yeah.
artists have always done their own shows, but it's come to a point that I think it's coming more into light into the new decade of 2020 and upwards, where now artists need to do their own shows. So you get like artists like Java, aka now he's got a show called The Orchestra that he's doing. Casper's got Fill Up, you know what I mean? Questa's got his own 3-day show and stuff, and it's becoming a thing. Even A. Reese, he's got his own show. Nasty C's got his own tour called Iverson Tour.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a new era where even you as an upcoming, because I feel like I can definitely say I'm representing the upcomers of a new era of doing those things, because when we see the Nasty C's being as big as they are, it feels, artists feel like, oh, okay, only when I'm that big, I can do my own shows. It's come to a point that it's so bad that promoters can't either afford to pay upcoming artists anymore. They can't
That's
book
ridiculous.
upcoming artists. Hence why you see on posters, you always see a recycle of the same artists on lineup, because at the end of the day, the promoters feel like, I'm spending so much money on this, I have to play it safe. So they're always going to use the same artists. So basically, instead of complaining and trying to throw blame for me as an upcoming artist, I'm like, okay, you guys can't book because at the end of the day, you scared of losing your money, and plus at the end of the day, there's also politics and stuff. So I have to do my own shows. And when you do your own shows, you start creating a new industry. So even it doesn't stop at me. I'm trying to push more artists to say, guys, produce your own shows, because that way you create your own industry. So that's what I'm doing. So I have a show called Tumi Tladi and Friends on the 1st of November. And we got people like Costa Titch, we got Boskasi, she was on Casper's song called Move For Me. We got Tabzi, that's was on one of Questa's hit songs. She's also on my single as well. And we just trying to push a good way of income for upcoming artists. So even eventually, it starts as, we pay what we can to the artists, but eventually it needs to be an industry where now my show becomes so big that I'm putting money into even upcoming artists' pockets and stuff.
And I think that's good, because the radio is obviously forcing people now to think of other ways, and the nice thing to see is at least that like artists aren't like, oh my word, they're not paying us, we can't do anything about it. At least they're doing something about it. They're doing something about it.
Saying the people like the Nasty C's and the Caspers, it's definitely even myself, it's a place where now we can say, okay, let's not do, if people are coming maybe to see me, I must use my name to now bring up other new faces.
Use your clout to get other people's
and I have responsibilities for that. You know what I mean? So what we do is we try to balance the two. So in the lineup, it will be obviously me as the headlining act, and then we'll maybe put like 2 famous people that are really popular, but we make those famous people share with the upcomers, so that there's a good market share and there's still reliability to the brand.
And I think that's good, though. People still do want to see everyone else out,
because
always give back to the industry.
People still want to see, at least 2 famous people they know that they really want to see. But at the same time, when they come there, they see new acts and they're like, oh, let me actually see how this person performs. Oh, snap, I love their performance. Let me listen to their music. You're opening up the market more.
And I know when Post Malone came here, he brought Tyler Yahweh, right? And Tyler Yahweh, I didn't even know he was. But when I heard his music live, I was like, holy shit, this guy's got talent. Did you go to the show though, Post Malone?
No.
Okay, so
but it's an example of if you went to a show and you saw him and you're like, oh snap, let me actually search this person's music.
He's from America as well.
So you know that song Hot Right Now is so high right now.
No, please sing a bit more.
That's terrible. Fuck. That was terrible. But anyway, that song,
Tumi does the singing on the show.
I know. We should have cancelled that one. But that song, right? I knew the song. I never knew who the artist was until Post Malone put him on his tour and brought him around and said, listen,
that's the whole point.
Who this kid is. Look. Now, I think we need to do that in a South African thing.
But with like Casper and all of them, I mean, when they do live shows, who opens for them?
They do. I know Nasty's also doing that as well with his Iverson tour. There's peers that I know that they'll reach out. They'll reach out to his team, and then he'll put them on the stage and stuff like that.
So it's only really with regards to the royalties and the SABC that guys need to get a bit harder with.
So basically, it would be amazing if all big artists literally said, "Yo, we're not gonna submit to radio," or they basically push that. I think definitely an idea that could happen at the top of my head is that they have to basically, it's drastic, but basically banning any of their music being played, because at the end of the day, if I say as AKA, yo, I'm not gonna submit to you guys anymore, it's still tricky because they'll be like, okay, we'll just play your old songs. So that's what radio is also doing a bit, because in the hip hop world,
is it gonna do anything?
So radio's not playing enough hip hop anymore in terms of new hip hop. So what radio does is that they'll play the old hip hop songs that released maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because genres like Gqom and Amapiano really took over to a point that, like, when a hip hop artist submits their music to radio, you only get like maybe 2 radio stations, like a YFM and another hip hop.
That's crazy.
One that's big on that, and that's becoming a problem. So the ones that don't play lists, right? They play older hip hop songs that were doing well, like Deleuze's old songs, Casper's old songs, all those type of things, and that still becomes a problem because they're now recycling from back then instead of trying to say, yo, we want new music. That's why people are not interested in the 13% of people that are in the internet are not interested in radio because it's like, where's the new artist that we
Just
want to
hearing
hear?
the
Where's the
same
new
old
sounds?
things all the
We're
time.
discovering all these new artists on the internet and on YouTube who've got millions of views, but you guys are not playing them.
I
You
see
know what I mean?
SoundCloud's also quite big. A lot of guys go through SoundCloud.
But right now, in terms of South Africa, let me say that SoundCloud has been dying slowly, and even in
Oh,
America,
really? That's
you know what I mean.
interesting,
So
yeah.
I've seen reports that even SoundCloud is dying because the Apple Music and Spotify vibes is giving more,
Reach maybe and
it's just easier to get the music you want. You don't want a
don't
low
Spotify
quality.
and iTunes also pay you for the content that you put on?
Of course.
Per view, yeah. The
course,
SoundCloud, I don't think they pay.
I think if you do premium, to a point that even
Maybe, yeah.
SoundCloud are doing a 30% premium for you to sign to their premium because you have to pay SoundCloud also. So that's another problem.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, so for me, what SoundCloud is useful for, and I think that's why it blew up, is that if I want to do a resample of Michael Jackson's Thriller, and I want to make it my own, I can put it on SoundCloud and
no
I don't have to
copyright
pay.
issues.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't have to
Yeah.
pay Michael Jackson's label
Because obviously,
Not doing that type of thing.
50,000 rand or 100,000 rand to hear. So if I had to give advice to people that are watching and upcoming artists, I definitely wouldn't say, even if people are saying SoundCloud is dead, but if you just want to showcase your talent of using hit songs and remaking them the way I use, because I had to pay 5,000 rand for my single.
shit,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? For the sample, I
Yeah,
had to pay
yeah.
5,000. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to avoid that and you're like, I don't have 20,000 to redo a Rihanna song or Martin, all those art or whoever, you can use SoundCloud because you're actually not benefiting financially. So that's for a dope way for you to expose your
Expose
talent.
yourself,
A
put
dope
yourself
way.
somewhere and
You know
then
what I'm saying?
just
So for
see,
me, even now, I've been thinking, I was like, oh man, I want to resample this song. Oh no, but Jay-Z's gonna charge me 50,000 rand or 100,000 rand.
Yeah.
Okay, let me make the song and then I'll just put it on SoundCloud and then hopefully I get
Showcase your
enough
talent,
noise.
you know?
If I get enough
Yeah.
noise, where people will be like, oh snap, this guy's amazing. Then that's when I have enough of a big platform to do a show, right? With that show, I get paid, right? From there, now I can afford to pay for samples, whether it's locally or international.
And that's what I think people also misunderstand with like artists. It's still a business that you have to run yourself. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a self-made business where you have to find out how you're going to pay yourself, right? And I think if you do it correctly, you will benefit
Especially
from it, like
independent-
Casper, Questa,
Yeah,
and, you know.
because the record labels, this is why artists want to get signed to record labels, because record labels really cut a lot of the budget costs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm signed to Universal and I want to do a sample from a Jay-Z or whoever, or Michael Jackson, they
sort
have
that
the
out.
funds to pay
Yeah.
that. Only problem with that when you sign to a label is that there's so much costs you have to put in, where you end up you this huge
not
famous
making money,
artist,
yeah,
like
but you're not
MT,
making money.
You know what I mean? MT was one of the biggest artists that came out. you know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
actually died out a bit now.
Yeah, he got out of it.
From, yeah.
Thank goodness, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have a car to this day. He only bought one car, which is for his dad. You know what I mean? But
That's crazy
It's hard
nice
to
though.
afford to
Holy
buy
shit,
that because
bro.
the record label, what he made 2 million maybe in a month, but you're only getting paid a fixed salary. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's
crazy.
another thing
Okay.
about it. Listen, another advice I'd like to give to artists is that, listen, you can sign to a record label, right? If you're getting paid like 30,000 to 40,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
But now this record label's made you this huge artist. You're doing shows every week, and you've maybe like in terms of the record label booking for you, they charging in that month you've made 2 million, right?
So the record label's making the money.
They're making a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But now instead of complaining, because a lot of artists complain about this, like, yo, man, they're robbing us. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, what's
I
going
say
on
to
here?
them, I'm like, guys, you need to treat being signed to a label like a 9-to-5 job, right?
That's crazy. Yeah.
From there, that money you're making per month from the record label, just like a normal 9-to-5 job, you save up to eventually build your own business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta
So
start those
what I would do if I was
side
signed to
hustles and-
Universal, obviously I decided not to go for it, right?
Yeah.
Because of time. For me, it's like, I can't wait now another 5 years to build up. I have to go now, right?
Yeah.
What I would do if I was MT at that time is that I would say, okay, I'm getting paid 40,000 a month. Cool. I'm saving up this money for 3 years, right? From there, I'll have enough money to start my own record label, have the money to pay for samplers to put my music on radio, have the money to pay for PR, have the money to push an artist or push myself, because your name is already big. So that's already a bonus. Now use the money you saved while you were in that record label for 5 years and use that to build your business, because people think this is a fucking extramural. It's fucking
Yeah,
business.
no, you
you
gotta
can't
take
get
it
obsessed
seriously,
with the
yeah.
record label. You can't can't get upset with the record
also
label.
on that same note, I mean, they booking the shows and stuff. Who knows what you would bring in if the record label wasn't there? I
Do
mean,
you
you've
know what I'm
got to
saying?
organize
Yeah.
everything yourself.
If you do the whole show yourself, then you're
it's
going
a
to take
balance
the
of the
profit
two.
home.
You might.
Yeah.
Yes,
have
the
loss.
record label might
Yeah.
treat you a certain way, or you're not getting the money you want. At the end of the day, it's your 9 to 5 job. So my best thing I can say to the listeners right now, when you sign to a record label, you're doing a 9 to 5 job. It just happens that you're a star.
Yeah, you see, that's crazy. And I know
Why
a
we
lot
not
of
complain about Eskom not paying you 100,000 rand? You're an employee. You get
Exactly,
your 10,000
yeah.
per month.
Yeah.
yeah, you
Build
do
up
your thing.
yourself.
That's crazy. Yeah, on Eskom lately, I mean, they've been
No, they just whack.
fucking us all over. I mean,
Yeah.
load shedding's back.
Yeah, big
I think
problems going on there.
we can put that in a whole fucking 1 hour.
yeah.
I
episode.
think we can all ramble on for a long time
We would
about
have
that.
to find a time.
That's
that
another
load shedding's
topic.
not
Yeah.
happening. So
If anyone has an extra 5 hours of
So just to close the whole royalties thing, it's that it's a struggle, and I don't know how. Like, it's a good question you guys asked. I don't know how we're gonna tackle this, especially with so much corruption in the SABC.
Yeah.
And they just
And
trying to pay their bills, and they trying to make their own money and have their own houses. It's the same thing
Yeah.
when people get tenders in the government.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like the Chinese, you know what the Chinese actually do? They say, okay, you're gonna come to South Africa, we're gonna give you 5 million rand, buy property.
Yeah.
Whereas when we get tenders in South Africa, they go straight to yachts and fancy
they
cars and houses instead
it
of
up,
building
yeah.
the roads and saying, saying,
they
yo,
get to do.
let me give you a 10 million or 50 million rand tender, go to America and buy property. Why are we not actually infiltrating the world?
Exactly. And I think the state of the country as a whole is actually, we've been in a bit of a fucking crazy time at the moment. I mean,
And it affects the music as well, man.
yeah. Did you see that story that happened the other day with the bishop teacher?
What happened?
So there was this teacher, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
the lady that was with the boys, with the boys,
fooling
yeah.
around with the young matric boy.
Now I have to be honest though,
Yeah.
and I mean, we men here, right?
Yeah,
I think we all had a teacher in
That we had a
school
little bit of a crush
that
on.
we had a crush on, right?
yeah.
And I think this guy, we don't know the guy's name, the student, but the teacher,
yeah.
I'm not going to say her name just so we
It's
don't
not
repeat
unusual.
it.
Nah, say her name, man. Say her name.
It's Fiona.
Yeah. What up, Fiona? We
And
see you.
she actually had a relationship with one of the school kids, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because she stayed on the premises from what I can see, right? She was married to some
She
guy.
was married as
She was
well.
married as well to some, and this guy was so rich as well that she was married to. But she actually slept with one of the students, and she sent him explicit videos of her playing with herself, her naked, her doing all those things, and like, I don't know. I think guys might joke about it a bit too much, like, that's my dream or whatever. But do you think it's wrong? Do you guys think, what are you using it?
I'll be real, man. I've always heard discussions about that. Like, one of my biggest, like, it's a self secret to all of us, but one of my biggest accomplishments would be smashing my teacher.
Hooking up with the teacher, yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things. Like, we have to look at it in different views. To a woman, it's not right, and they don't feel good about it. But I've never, maybe there is a few, but I've never heard of a dude saying I slept with a teacher and he's haunted by it. It's always an accolade. To us, it's always an accolade. So we must never try to I think the biggest mistake we do as men and females, we compare our genders to each other. You can't compare. We're from different worlds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Us sleeping with a teacher is different to a female sleeping with a teacher.
Yeah.
She gets affected by it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but in this instance, he's 18, so fine.
So he's 18, so
Yeah.
he's got consent.
I
Yeah,
think
he
when
can
he's
do what he wants.
14, 15, it's some guys that can mess them up. But
Maybe,
like,
yeah, true.
About
That's the thing,
15
I mean-
still, I'll still be like, I'm a boss. Like, some guys definitely at 15 years old, they can be affected mentally.
A little bit
Yeah.
traumatized. Well, yeah, I mean, I was reading up on it a little bit as well, and I've seen that the school is bringing in psychologists and stuff to deal with whoever's been affected by the whole
That's
thing.
a bit
which
extreme,
doesn't
yeah.
really
It's definitely too
resonate
extreme.
with me, but I mean,
It's too extreme. I'm sure
Yeah.
dudes are laughing at that school. They're like,
Yeah.
yo, like, why is everyone
Yeah,
making
but
it a
the
big
thing
deal?
is that, I mean, okay, so firstly, that what happened there is not illegal. It's just extremely unethical.
Yeah,
It's unprofessional. It's
Yeah.
unprofessional.
That's
So
what it
yes,
comes down
the
to.
teacher's board and
unprofessional.
stuff is investigating, but she resigned from she was like part of the water.
She was probably an
polo
UNO
thing,
teacher or something like that.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
a teacher. But if the
Yeah,
guy, the student had to be 16 years of age, I don't see why that should be treated differently to if it was a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's 16.
I understand, but I think
Although
guys,
they will likely
remember-
feel the guys will be like, fuck yeah. But
Yeah.
that's a generalization. It
is a
doesn't
big
have to be like
generalization,
that.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
like, holy
I think
shit.
more than anything, even sometimes we when we see these reactions, it's based not even okay, maybe subconsciously in their head or to them, but
Yeah.
I think it's mainly based on the unprofessionalism. It's like having sex with your boss is still unprofessional.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like the reputation that, I mean, Bishop's name, the school name, was
Done.
out in the public.
You
Yeah.
see, it ruins the school's
Completely.
name. So
Yeah.
I think it's bigger than her having sex with a guy.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
not
'Cause,
a-
I mean,
yeah.
like, even the first article I read was Nick Mallett's niece.
Oh yeah,
or
straight
Yeah.
away. Straight away.
Yeah.
That's
Like
what
she,
it is.
now
yeah,
Nick
she's
Mallet is
related, to
implicated in
Nick
this-
Mallet, the
in
rugby
this
player,
thing
former
where
rugby player. Yeah.
He had nothing to do
nothing
with.
to do with. So, I mean, also the media is a nightmare. That's why podcasts are becoming a thing, because
Yeah.
the media is just full of shit. They're like
Yeah.
clickbait,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Nick Mallet being uncle, I don't.
Doesn't
who the
matter.
fuck
Doesn't
cares,
have any
honestly.
type
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
But what she did, especially considering that she has a husband, and now that
And she
Yeah,
only
she
married
cheated on her husband. Like,
She was
it's
only
not
married
cool,
for
cheating on you.
13 months, eh? She
Yeah.
was only
And
married
now-
for 13 months.
and now there's more students that have come forward allegedly. There's been no names or ages given.
I know, it sounds like she had a thing about this. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't just a one-time thing.
But it does sound weird for guys to even come forth with that.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
That's
so like,
weird.
yeah, me too.
But do they want? Oh, so
They should start a
it's
Me Too
bragging rights
movement.
for them,
Yeah.
maybe.
Just-
Me too movement in the positive.
In a positive, like I did it
Me
too.
too. Hashtag we fucking did it as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's pretty crazy because I went to the school I went to. A student had a relationship with a teacher, but when he left matric, they actually still carried on dating.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
sometimes it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking it's strange.
No,
but-
like guys, the sole thing of it is just the unprofessionalism in the job.
Exactly,
She had a job,
yeah.
you know what I mean. And if she's married, she had a husband.
This is
Yeah, I
provided.
see
This is
that.
provided that the guy's 18. I mean, if he's 16, it's a different story. Then
Yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
statutory rape.
Could've
Yeah,
been
it's
a
actually
jail
rape,
time
yeah.
there too, yeah.
But yeah, so that's the case. I mean, I feel dreadful for her husband, but also
Yeah,
I've always thought
That
one
poor
of the
guy,
dumbest
eh?
things on
Yeah, it's just
earth
him.
to ever do, regardless of who you're with, is to send.
Yeah, the only
fucking
person I
nude
feel sorry for is the
pictures
husband,
and
Yeah.
videos.
and you know, so
yeah.
Relationships come to an end.
and she had it good, eh? Like they were living in a good house. That guy was pretty rich
I
and
think
everything.
the biggest L for her was just cheating on the husband. I think
yeah,
that's the
Yeah.
biggest.
that's the biggest
Yeah,
L,
yeah,
100%. Yeah,
Like you as a person.
people are just
Yeah,
gonna look at you now as a
good for
person and be
you.
like,
I mean, yeah, if
"It's a
30
pretty piece of shit thing to do. That's doo doo, bro."
teacher
100%.
had an
Yeah.
affair with a 18-year-old student.
Whilst
Not
she
an
was
affair.
married.
Sorry, not an affair. Just hooked up
A
with
relationship.
student.
People would be like, "Cool,"
Okay, cool.
but now
I
she
mean,
cheated on her husband. She's crossed these, but it's crazy, you know. She's
He's
crossed these
18.
lines.
Yeah, he's 18. He had every right to feel like I can smash.
I can do this,
If
yeah.
she wasn't in a relationship, and if it was him, if he wasn't in the school and he's 18, no one would see that as a problem.
Yeah,
Nah.
but I feel like he became a legend in that school with our people.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think. And I don't know much about Bishops, but is it an all boys school or is it?
Yes,
I think
is
it's
it?
an
as far as I
Yeah.
understand, it's fucking
She's like that must
expensive,
have been fucking heaven for her then,
It's
eh?
about 150 grand a year or so.
might be higher
Somewhere
because
around
there's
there.
boarding there.
That's crazy,
Maybe
eh?
more, yeah.
But I mean, speaking on that front, I mean, yeah, that's a bummer and a plus for the 18-year-old. But in more serious terms, I mean, the sexual another event that's happened in South Africa is that old Nicholas Ninow
Got sentenced this week, yeah.
Sentenced to
For
life.
anyone who's watching internationally, that's
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's just take a little break quickly.
Yeah, because
Sorry. So yeah, we were just leading into a topic in South Africa that's actually quite big at the moment. Nicholas Ninow, he's been sentenced at the moment to life for actually raping a little girl.
yes, to
and
life. Yes.
Yeah, well done, everyone, guys. I
Yes.
mean, people always say that the justice system doesn't prevail.
Ah,
and
they
it
had
gets
to
dropped.
through.
Hey,
They had
guys,
to. They had no choice.
I think we can all, and the whole of South Africa can be so proud of this
And it was
decision.
quick.
It was quick. It
was
didn't
quick,
take time.
yeah,
for
exactly.
legal,
Yeah,
for legal
yeah.
action. It was quick.
Yeah, and I don't know. I want to go through with everyone's thoughts and just what's going on at the moment. Why is this a thing, and how can we actually
Yeah.
stop this kind of stuff,
Well,
stuff from happening?
the-
What should be put in place?
That's for
There's a hard
Yeah.
truth. There's a hard truth that people struggle to accept that I came to reality of. The world has always been the way it is in terms of negativity, but it's being filmed more. So women have always been raped since ever.
Yeah.
Always been raped a lot. Men have been raping, been killing a lot. It's just being filmed more.
Yeah,
So it's a very difficult question when you say, how do you how do we stop those type of things? We just have to do our best to stop it. But sometimes people make it like it just came. And I'm like, no, guys, this has always been there. It's just been covered more.
Yeah.
The media doesn't cover it enough. There's a thing I always complain about. Here's maybe a solution even that could help. At least to the 13% that is on the internet, is that every week I see this thing called, what's the hashtag?
Me too.
Or Motivation Tuesday. Yeah. So there's these specific hashtags that are on every week.
Yeah.
For like the last 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Motivation Tuesday or Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, instead of making those trend every week, why can't we make an awareness hashtag for every week? So every Tuesday, because
for every week, not just when the situation arises.
You know what I'm saying? People be like, oh, we only talk about this when it becomes to media. So I'm like, okay, cool. Instead of complaining, let's be consistent. Make a hashtag every week, me too, that comes every Tuesday or every Wednesday.
That at least we can,
because technically we're human. We can't talk about it every single day. We still want to be happy. We still want to do our lives.
I looked at just on that. I mean, a while back, I checked the stats basically in South Africa for rape and I think maybe murder as well. No, I think it was rape, and it was just saying about how many rapes occurred, how many were reported, and how many were resolved, and the percentage was
ridiculous.
Ridiculous,
bro. It was
and it's
incredible.
sad. But I think also, like, as guys, we do need to take accountability. You know, these stupid jokes that guys make and things that happen. You know, we just need to say, listen, guys. We need to dumb it down ourselves. Yeah. We can't be, you know, we're all guilty of it. Everyone makes stupid jokes at a time, you know.
We need to join the hashtag.
We need to join the movement, actually.
And join the movement.
You know what? We shouldn't make these jokes. It is inappropriate. And maybe if there is someone listening that might think it's funny and not take it seriously.
Another problem is guys keep quiet. Like when a woman are like, you know, obviously venting out their frustrations, we tend to, and I noticed it, you know, we tend to keep quiet and stuff. And, you know, and there's excuses of, oh, but I'm a guy and I'm a good guy. It doesn't matter. Like you said, it's our responsibility. It starts with the hashtag of being consistent. Let's support women and tell them even like, yo, let's do a hashtag. Let's help them find solutions. Let's do a hashtag every week on a Tuesday or Wednesday. We say be aware or me too or something like that,
just to help them out.
Because in 7 years that can really stay in people's brains and they'll always be aware, they'll always be woke. I think it's just annoying that when something really bad happens, that's when we want to talk about it. Look, like on social media right now, people are not talking about it.
It's died down again.
Let's talk about the Nicholas Ninow matter quickly. For those on YouTube, I firstly just want to apologize. I left the ice on the table.
It's fine. Just carry on.
Mine just popped off here. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I saw that explosion. Wow. So Ninow, if you don't know, he raped a 7-year-old girl in a dross.
And he was known as the dross rapist.
Yeah, it was. I think it was September already last year.
Yeah,
so it was a quick trial.
It was quite quick.
And he was on drugs and all of this crap, which is obviously one of his excuses essentially. And he plead guilty that he raped the girl. I mean, when he got caught, he was trying to.
It was red-handed. It was ridiculous, bro. It's so sad to hear, dude. It's terrible.
There was a video circulating of him getting caught, essentially, and it was horrifying.
It was so sad to watch, bro. It made me fucking so angry, bro.
Words can't even describe.
So he got found guilty
for life,
for rape, possession of drugs, and the obstruction of justice.
Life sentence.
If I'm not mistaken, because he was flashing panties and all that stuff. So recently, I mean, this week, just before recording this podcast, he got sentenced. So he got sentenced to life imprisonment for the rape. And he got sentenced to 5 years for possession of drugs and 5 years for obstructing justice. I think one of the 5 years was running concurrently with the life sentence, which I always find to be the most bizarre fucking thing.
Because life sentence,
right? It just means, no, when you run concurrently, it just means, say you get 2 5-year sentences for different crimes. They run concurrently, that means you get 5 years. So it's essentially like you didn't get one other sentence.
And the thing with a life sentence is that we spoke about before this is that it's actually only 30 years and then it's parole afterwards, right? You could get parole or you could get life without parole.
Yeah, so
he got life.
There's a common misconception in South Africa that life means 25 years. I mean, you're even hearing lots of songs.
It's 25 years. Sorry, it was 25 years, not 30 years.
Even just the title, man. When you think about life, it should be forever in jail.
It should,
You'll see the case now. What it is that when you're sentenced to life, it means you are sentenced to life, but
Yeah.
you are entitled or eligible for parole after 25 years.
Yeah.
So you
messed
have to apply to the parole board, and if they decide yes, you can be released, then you get released on parole. They can always say no, and you remain in jail.
That's
also,
crazy, yeah.
some sentences come where they go, you sentenced to life without the option of parole. That means you're there for life.
For life. And that's what he should have, I reckon.
So he should have had that. No, he
life
didn't
without
get that.
parole.
Yeah.
You know,
he
it's someone
should've-
like that, I don't want them in society, you know, and being in prison is obviously to keep you out of society. You know,
Yes, there's various reasons. One of the big reasons is rehabilitation.
Yeah, that's the whole
someone
point
like
of
that.
prison.
And
Yeah, that's
because-
actually the whole point of
someone like
prison.
that.
Because he argued such a strong case that he was on, not a strong case, sorry. He
Yeah.
argued
he tried to
that
say he was
he's on
mentally
he
drugs.
was
ill
on
and shit.
drugs, and
Yeah.
that he also said that he was physically abused as a child, but he said because he was on drugs, he acted impulsively, all that stuff. So maybe with the 25 years, with entitlement to parole, maybe he'll fucking...
I'm going to say sorry, but in my opinion, fuck that. There's no excuse, bro. That was a 7-year-old girl.
He's an
I
emotional
don't care,
speaking
yeah.
person, yes, entirely.
Yeah. You know?
So he's got 30 years basically because the 1 5-year is...
And then after that, he
concurrence.
could get parole, but let's all hope he doesn't, you know?
Yeah, that's all help.
Yeah,
I
so
think-
that's...
It's a crazy topic, and there's crazy things that like this that have been happening in South Africa. And I don't know if you guys have been keeping track, but there've been a lot of abductions at universities. I don't
It's
know,
insane.
like almost every
Yes.
week I read a new person's
so
been
it's a
abducted.
topic I've spoken to people about, just to see how they feel about it. Because I love asking awkward questions because it needs to be asked.
It's a bit more awkward.
Yeah.
More than awkward.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
your sister get abducted?
or uncomfortable questions. you know?
Yeah.
And one of the things like women hate, and obviously apologies to women especially. It's not even a blame on women per se, but do you guys feel, and even the viewers right now, and most people probably disagree, but it's a question that needs to be asked: is that do you feel like when social media came about, and you know, women are put on a pedestal of beauty, you know, a lot of people say
Yeah, it's very
Instagram,
interesting.
like,
I see,
everyone's
yeah.
a supermodel, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Then you get
do
that
you feel like
creepy
it
guy.
made creepy guys have more access to women and desire them and stalk them more? Because I see even parodies and all these guys, like, they make jokes of it obviously on TV shows where a guy will be like, okay, I'm going to date her in my head. I saw that on Family Guy, where Brian is like, he asked the girl out and she said no. Then he's like, okay, let me follow it on Facebook and then date her in my mind. That psychology actually is bad because what it does to you is that when you do see that person, you have this certain mentality,
this infatuation, this like,
So
and
to
it
you
makes you
it's-
do bad decisions.
To you, it's essentially you like, oh no, I'm in a consensual relationship with this girl because I've been dating her online. Now when I see her in person, I can sort of do what I want. Is that
and a big
Like in
quote,
my head.
and a big quote that I've heard is that girls are like,
especially
I'm not going to apologize for the thoughts that you had in your head, you know. A lot of guys will be like,
course.
oh,
They
I bought
can't
you a
apologize.
drink, now this should happen, or no, it doesn't work like that, bro, you know. You need to be,
and it's also the psychology thing of men that are sometimes these abductions from also men that are mentally ill, right? So I watched The Joker, and just one part, obviously no hectic spoilers.
we don't want any spoilers.
No hectic spoilers, but the psychology of it is that he saw a woman, and in his mind, this woman connected with him just because she, you know, gave him an action in the elevator.
That's
and
crazy.
when she gave him attention in that elevator, in his mind, he started implementing her dating him. So if he's wherever he is, she's there in his mind. So when he realized she's not there, you know what I mean? And when he really wanted her, that's when he killed her.
That's
you know what I'm saying? So
bro.
it's
wow.
it's,
I haven't
these-
watched the film yet. Thanks for that.
Watch it. So it's not a full, it's not a hectic one.
I hope he kills her
Is it?
quickly in the film, and there's a
There-
remainder.
I don't want to
doesn't leave
spoil.
it.
So there's still more questions, so I didn't spoil it too
There
much.
we go.
I just left
Yeah.
it vague, right?
You just spoil it.
Yeah, it's not too much. It's vague. You know. So definitely. So that comes to that social media thing of the and rape and more abductions. Is that there's these guys that are so infatuated with these girls they see on Instagram, and it's not the woman's fault. You're allowed to be beautiful. You're allowed to be naked. It's your body. It's social. It's do whatever you want.
No, I
That's
agree
you.
with that fully,
I support you fully.
Yeah.
These mentally ill guys will be like, damn. They hate that they can't have that.
Yeah,
they
and then-
see it all the time.
And they work themselves up in their room and they do this fucking crazy shit.
I do social media detoxes because I take on energies of people. So if you put negative statuses,
you get that
you
into
know,
your...
it actually affects me.
Yeah.
So when I see people saying their opinions, and you're allowed to say opinions, but sometimes people's opinions do have an effect on me, because it's like a thing of protecting your energy. When when everyone says you got a small circle of friends, why? Because you're protecting your energy. You want to be at the right frame of mind, right? Now picture social media, you're taking on 30,000 people's opinions.
A lot of people struggle with
brain.
it.
So I have like 38,000 followers, right? And maybe I follow 900, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm taking the opinions of 900 people, and I'm
cry at each negative comment I got.
Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, we're exposing ourselves to it now, so we'll see what happens.
So guys think depression comes on social media from a person that looks rich, a person who has girls. No, it can come in different forms. For me, my depression comes in social media when I take too much energies of people's struggle, people's opinions, and sometimes the opinions, like there'll be some girls that even like maybe talk a certain way that can affect me, you know what I mean? Or there's guys that speak a certain way even about women, where I'll be like, damn, unfollow. But now because I read it, and there's people out like that, their energies rub off on me and it's negative, therefore I get depressed, and I don't even know why I'm depressed. It's not because of what they say, it's because of the energies they bring to you. So now you feel like depressed. So I stop social media. I do detoxes like every year, at least a 2 weeks,
I think everyone should.
2-week detox, where now I'm focused on what's actually happening in front of me, and I'm not weighing on everyone's burdens, because that's what social media is. When you're reading everyone's statuses, you're taking on everyone's burdens, whether it's positive or negative. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
so
for
it's
you,
good to do
it's
that.
very different. I mean, you a much larger scale
than most
I would
people.
say,
Yeah.
but
That's
even
the
if you're a
thing.
person that follows, you can have 500 followers, right? But you follow 1,000 people, that can still affect you.
Exactly.
The thing is, for a person who is just a general person on social media, you can decide on who you want to follow and who you don't want to follow. So you can regulate what you're listening to and what you're not listening to.
Yeah. But now,
for
as a person that's
like
your fam, your friends, or people that you do want to follow, sometimes they'll have a certain effect, or you don't want to unfollow.
That's true.
It's someone that you work with.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? And now you like, snap, I can't unfollow this person because at the end of the day I have a relationship with that person, but what they say, because it's actually their private space, doesn't sit well with you, and that can affect you as well. So instead of unfollowing or deleting whatever, it's just nice to just block off and have a detox and
I
just
think
breathe.
people should just
Come
be
back into it
responsible,
and, you
like
take
with
their
the way
weight
they use
again.
social media.
Yeah, you just gotta
Look
be
at who you
responsible.
follow. Do they actually inspire you, or
because what you're saying is important, bro. It is important that you need to choose also right who you following. It does.
Yeah.
It is
the
important.
content that you are
Subscribe to,
consuming will dictate how you live your life at the end of the day, because it's what you're consuming every day.
Exactly.
And that's going to dictate how you live your life.
Exactly.
But just to bring it back a bit, with the abductions at the universities and stuff, do you think that's the fault of the universities or the police force? Like, where do you think is going wrong there?
What Tumi was saying, I mean, he talks about social media and stuff like that. I think that's a very small portion of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a guy who just got, a Nigerian dude, who was in South Africa, who got sentenced to some ridiculous flippant sentence for human trafficking.
Yeah.
When you talk about, so there are active abductors out there.
Yeah, they've always been there. Yeah.
And yes, there's fault in various places. I mean, security, one thing, because I think the one chick was walking from UJ and she got snapped up. Security couldn't help in that instance.
Well, there was another story where they put the student in the boot and then used her own access card
To get out.
of
This was why we were
this year.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
And it comes to me
Yeah.
saying that when we asking what do we do about it, it's like we need to find these solutions, because it is hard for everyone to find them, and I don't know if we can get them right now as we speak, because you're mentioning things. I was actually thinking about it now. I'm like,
It's hard to
okay,
think about on the
security,
spot,
beef up security, but then there's some points where they can abduct you
And then
when
get
no
you
one's
out,
looking in the dark,
Yeah.
and you use the access card. So do you think that men and females, because men can also be abducted,
Obviously,
do you think they just have to be more vigilant?
I think
Because
they need
women will
traveling
be like,
pairs,
women will be like,
always.
yo, why do we have to be like this only men? But I'm like, guys, also men are in danger. So what do we all do as a collective?
But because
know
if
what I
you
mean?
walked around UJ at night time, it's fucking scary.
With
dude.
your phone, they jacked.
Dude,
My
there's-
trainer just got jacked. You get what I'm
Bro,
saying?
you
Like,
see
it's
it-
just how it is.
There's hardly any lighting there. It's dark. You can't fucking see
So
anything.
obviously,
It's
so
crazy.
obviously try not to walk at night. Like, we'll start there. At least a simple instruction is like,
Simple instructions.
try
Use the
not to.
buddy
Yeah.
system.
Use the buddy system.
Use the
bro.
buddy system.
Always
Yes.
have a
One for
friend.
me, I think,
Yes,
is
the buddy system.
But
the
I mean,
biggest
you
one.
get guys who finish lectures late, which I think was the case with the one girl.
Yes.
And she was walking back to res, which was out of
And it's
the
close to
gates.
it, yeah. And it's close
They
by.
just take
And
you,
also, what does a human trafficker look like? Fucking no
yeah,
one
you don't
knows,
know.
Yeah,
dude.
no one
Yeah.
knows. So what do you do now?
But,
anyway.
but what can you do? What is there available?
People are
to do?
tired
Buddy
of
system, 100%, I think.
I think
Yeah.
it's the best one so
I
far.
think tightening up security, but to what extent?
To what extent?
Yeah.
Checking everyone's boots would be a good one. Like, sir, can I check?
Yeah.
your
They really
boots?
do that at
Yeah.
DJ.
States
They do
do
that
that.
at DJ,
States
yeah.
are doing that.
States do
So
that,
I think
yeah.
varsities should start doing that as well.
No, I think it's good.
Because even
Yeah,
when I went to
it's-
fetch a friend at it was UJ, it was so easy to come in and out. And
Yeah.
come on, like
Oh, you should have seen
just
when the
beef up the
protest was
security.
there, it was impossible. I was coaching at the time. I had cricket stumps in my boots. No, we're not happy.
They were like, what is this?
Stumps. Like,
That's dope. You see, at least
I'm gonna
they must be
throw
picky.
one through
Yeah,
someone, you know?
they
Yeah.
gotta
You
stay
use it as a
doing that.
javelin.
You know what I mean? They must even ask, what are you gonna do with the stuff in the boot? I like
But
that.
it also
Rather more
but it has
than
an
less.
effect of being like, when you see so much security and so many things that they are required to do, it gives you an off-putting feeling. Sorry, that English was horrific. But
Yeah, it's still
I mean,
just going very
if
well.
you've seen there and everyone's getting patted down, you're like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, you don't feel like you're at a
Yeah.
place of learning. You
What
feel
am I-
like you're at a
Have
prison
I
or
just
something. Yeah.
landed in fucking Afghanistan, bro? Like,
But I'd
what
rather
is
have
going on?
people feel uncomfortable than people getting abducted.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I think maybe people and the government and universities should just look into it a bit more, because
Yeah.
obviously these sort of topics, they're affecting us as a country. So I think it's something that we should definitely look into more.
Yeah, we can't really
Yeah.
chat too much more on abduction because that's a whole discussion in itself.
That's a whole
Exactly,
discussion.
yeah.
It's-
But for now, basically, all I want to do is just give Tumi the opportunity to let everyone know what he's doing at the moment, who you are. Again, where can they find you?
Yeah.
There we
Yeah,
go. Look
man.
in the camera.
So, you know, I go by the name of Tumi Tladi. And yeah, guys, you can catch me on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, at Tumi Tladi. So it's
For the white people,
Tumi.
it's Tumi Tladi.
Yeah. Tumi. You know, so TUMI, one word. And yeah, you can catch my music on all music platforms. Check out my show on the 1st of November. We at Lounge Rooftop in Honeydew, The Ridge. You can catch my first live show there, and it's the first of many
We'll
to
try to put
help.
some links to that.
Definitely.
yeah,
all of
yeah,
that stuff will be in the description, and I urge people
shout
to
out
actually
you
have a
guys.
look at it. you
Yeah,
know?
come through and just show support to upcoming artists, man. You know,
I agree with that 100%.
And we're trying to build an industry for the future of upcoming
Yeah.
artists and the future of shows.
That's the whole
and,
purpose of this episode.
and
Yeah.
give you guys something different in a commercial way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you guys
To me,
for having
honestly,
me,
it's,
man.
you've been an
Thank you.
amazing guest.
Shout out, guys.
Obviously, we've been very honored to have you, and thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
it's
Hope to
good.
come back
Thanks,
soon
thanks,
and
man.
discuss more topics. You know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just
When
go.
this takes off. Cheers, eh?
Yeah. Shout out.